Michael Miller. Our guest today is Frank Calderon from Solid Waste from Miami-Dade County. Thank you for being here, Frank.
Thanks for having me.
So, the holiday season's just about here, all right?
Oh, yeah.
And what it means is people are going to be ordering more boxes of stuff. They're going to be cleaning their houses, all right? And because they're going to have all the friends over, and they're going to be lots of painting and cleaning out rooms, which is all going to produce garbage.
Yes.
And trash.
Yes.
So tell us about a couple things. One, what people should do with their leftover paint cans and the leftover construction material. Maybe they're taking apart the kitchen or the bedroom.
Okay, well, we have different programs for different things. If for construction material, if you're a do-it-yourselfer, you're allowed to take up to 3 cubic yards of about the size of a washing machine times 3 to one of our TRCs. If you're a customer, let me clarify that. If you are our customer, if you get the green cart garbage service with the county logo on it, you can bring it to one of the TRCs. As far as paints and stuff like that, you can bring it to our home chemical collection centers, which we're happy to announce that starting this Saturday, coming Saturday, we're going to have, and we have the schedule posted on our website, miami-dade.gov/solid waste. We're going to have mobile events in addition to the 2 permanent centers that we have for home chemical collection. So paints and stuff like that. Batteries, big question we're getting on social media.
You'll be able to take it down the street.
You'll be able to take it to one of our sites. Now that it's a one-day thing, and we have several sites we're going to rotate throughout. But
very
yeah,
good. Very, very creative. I do want to thank University Credit Union. Thank you very much, Albert Rose, and your team out there. Guys did great work. So is this relatively new for the department to be able to have that?
The mobile events, yes. The first one's going to be this coming Saturday, close to my house, conveniently.
That's perfect. And I think that's tremendous because it really keys people up to pay more attention to that.
Yes. Yeah. We posted it on our social media, the question people asking, batteries. The standard, regular alkaline batteries, Eveready, Duracell, or Rayovac, or, you buy those AA, AAA, CD, 9-volt, those you can throw away. The lithium ones, the rechargeable ones, the lead acid battery like car or motorcycle, those should be brought into one of our centers, or you can bring it now to one of these events.
And part of this is getting into the mindset and the culture top of mind about how to take care of the garbage. I know there's been a lot of conversation recently about garbage and about trash, and about recycling and climate change. And we're all seeing all sorts of changes. And then after all the deniers must be going, well, maybe there's something to it. But one of the things we do know is that recycling does work, and it's more than just recycling. It's a mindset of the people that are likely to recycle are more community minded. And the more they go out to these events, the easier it's going to be to teach the little kids who have a lifetime of disposing of things a little bit better. So Miami-Dade County is a pretty broad area for picking up garbage. How many square miles is that?
Well, I think our service area is 320 square miles alone. I think the county as a whole is huge. About a third of it, roughly, a quarter to a third is Everglades. Obviously, nobody's going to pick up. We're not going to go there to pick up garbage, but our service area is about 320 alone is 320 square miles.
And how many different customers do you have in that area?
We have, we do different things, but basically the people that we pick garbage up from, it's about 340,000.
That's the garbage cans.
Yes.
The green
yes.
ones.
And just to add a little thing to that is recently I did the research on this, and based on census numbers for what the average household in Miami-Dade County is, like 2.83 persons, we're close to serving 1 million people. The number came up when I did the math about 900-something thousand, close to 1 million.
And it's certainly something that we just take for granted. We put it in the garbage can, we take their little white or
as long as there's nothing wrong.
We
yes.
put it out front, and we come home or wherever, and it's sitting essentially the same place but empty.
As long as there's no issues, yeah, it's one of those things you do take for granted.
And I do want you to know that one of our cans was really bad shape, and they replaced it. All right. So thank you very much. Thank you guys for doing that.
We have people that do that, dedicated. They'll replace or repair if it can be repaired. The carts, yeah, just call 311 or visit our website, miami-dade.gov/solid.
Just for clarity, the county does not clean the cans. Private
no, we don't.
Has to.
There are companies that'll do it for you
yes.
if you want, or you can just do it with yourself. Hose it down, put a little bit of soap there, rinse it out, and you should be good.
So let's talk a little bit about recycling. I know there's a separate department for that, but how do you get into that mindset of let's recycle? So somebody would need to have inside their house two separate garbage bags.
They could do it that way, yes.
Right. And then if they don't know for sure what to recycle, what should they do?
Call 311. They can tell you if something can be, if you have a question, can I recycle, such and such an item? They'll tell you. Visit our website, the recycling portion, miami-dade.gov/recycling will take you directly to the recycling. We have a campaign called the Simple 5. There's basically 5 items you can recycle in our program in the blue recycling cards. Bottles, which include glass or plastic bottles, cardboard, paper, cartons, and cans, which can include like metal food cans or aluminum drink cans.
So people put this in their blue cart. It goes to a loading platform. Does it get separated by material?
Yes, the recyclables do get separated by material. It goes to a contractor we have, Waste Management Inc., their facility, and they separate. Part of the separation process is done by hand. We actually have some videos linked to on our website. It's really interesting to watch. Part of it is done by hand, but part of it is done by machine, special like conveyor belts that use not just like a belt, but use like what we call a star screen. These little rotors that are shaped kind of like a star, and that actually allows like the cardboard to lift and like ride over everything else, for example, and other items to fall through. Very interesting process.
Let's talk about glass bottles because we're all familiar with that. Put it in there and it gets recycled. What happens to that bottle? What's the process?
There are different things they can do. They can make new glass out of it. They can make ornamental glass pieces, beads, stuff like that from it. They can also make what is called glassphalt, a type of like asphalt alternative to pave roads with. So there are a few things they can do. Glass is one of the items that we don't talk about a lot when it comes to the recycling program, but there are things that you can make out of it.
And cardboard?
Just new boxes.
Right.
And there's high demand for that. High demand for that right now. So
I understand that Amazon is looking to use less boxes. So
or lighter material
right,
boxes with lighter material. Yes,
we see it now.
But there's still demand for it.
Yeah, I order jeans. It comes in a clear plastic bag.
Yes.
I look at it. Oh, they got the right size, except for it's too fat. That must be mine, all right? So we take it, but they used to come in boxes. Now they're figuring out that
not everything needs to come in a box.
Right.
But they still. Part of that is because it's a shortage. Part of it is the you use less material. It's better in the long run. Yeah.
All right. So you have 340,000
roughly.
And how many routes is that broken up into?
I can't remember right now. I want to say about 180 or something like that, but I can't remember.
And essentially, that is that you have on those routes. Those are twice a week.
We do each route twice a week, yes.
So you have a lot of garbage trucks on the road at one time. A lot.
Our fleet is about 200. We have about 100. We budgeted for 151 drivers, if I'm not mistaken. I just looked up the email that somebody sent me that information on just before coming here. So about 150 drivers are out there. We have the extra trucks because trucks break down, things happen. But yeah, we have about 150 drivers.
You're looking for more drivers right now?
We are about to announce it. Yes, it's coming soon. We always tell people we have jobs anyway, at all times. The county has jobs. If our department isn't hiring at a given moment, there's other county jobs. miami-dade.gov/jobs. But we do plan to announce shortly, in the next couple of weeks or so, for drivers. Because we do need drivers.
Men and women.
Men and women.
To drive the trucks, you have to have a CDL, commercial
You
driver's
do.
license.
You do.
And then they go into a training program.
If you get hired, there's a training program to show you specifically how to drive a garbage truck, because it's a different animal from driving, say, a delivery truck. Because for one thing, you've got right and left. Most of the trucks have drive on both sides, because what some drivers will do is drive to their route from wherever the trucks is staged on the left-hand side, like we all do. And then when they do their route, they have to do it from the right-hand side so they can see in the mirror, see the cart being
there's
picked
two
up.
driver's seats. You can drive to separate controls.
Yes, on both sides. Some drivers they start off and they stay because they don't want to switch. They stay on the right side and they drive like that.
My wife thinks that she's got a steering wheel and a brake too.
No comment.
Sorry, Susan. All right. So um, I was pleased to see that the county had ordered their first all-electric truck. What does it look like the next couple of years for electric vehicles?
Well, hopefully we'll see more of them. They, you know, emissions, you can't beat them. Nothing else makes as few emissions, basically zero, as an electric truck does. And yeah, the hope is eventually to have an all electric
When we were
fleet.
kids, the milkman used to drop off stuff, and we could hear him in the morning. Oh,
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Yeah, with
right.
the electric truck, you can only hear certain noise, like when you know, when it brakes, you can hear that. When the arm starts moving, you can hear that. But the motor itself, the engine itself, you don't hear it. It's very silent.
So one of the things that I think what a lot of consumers do with the green containers is they stuff that really hard. They stuff that all in there. So when that arm comes down, it grabs it, and it has to be a snug fit. And they take that and they turn it up like this, and then they empty it out on the back of the truck. And then if it's stuffed in there too hard, they got to shake it a little more.
They might shake it. Well, we ask people not to stuff in too much for two reasons. Number one, driver can tell when they're lifting if it's too much for the cart. That happens sometimes when we have people put items that they're not supposed to inside their carts, like rock. They can tell, oh, it's too heavy. There's something wrong. They're technically not supposed to go out. They'll probably go out to check it though, because you know something wrong. And if they see it's full of rocks, then you can get in trouble for that. But yeah, the other thing too is if you jam it in there too much, even if they shake it, it might not all come out.
They must have a lot of patience, the drivers as well as the people that are online separating that stuff. I guess they get to a point, well, of course somebody put this in this particular container and they didn't know or didn't care. So you have, what do they call the people that pick out this stuff? What are they called?
Well, we don't have that. That's on the recycling side and the contract. I'm not sure. Probably, I'm guessing picker or sorter. I'm not sure.
So tell us what happens to the contents of the green cans. What happens?
The green cans, well, now it comes to one of our facilities, either the three transfer stations or the South Dade or North Dade landfill, and it'll go to a landfill. We do have a contract with Waste Management Inc. on use of several landfills that they own for disposal, because unfortunately, of course, we know what happened in February with the Resources Recovery Facility. That's been out of commission for a while, and probably will be for the foreseeable future. So we do have a contract with them so that we don't use up all of our landfill capacity. So that helps. So that gives us we had that in place even before the fire or anything, because we needed to have. It's important to have that flexibility, because you never know, something could happen like this, and you need to be able to dispose of. Because we deal with a high volume of waste, we need to be able to dispose of it responsibly in some way. So we need that flexibility. So we had a contract with them, and they have several landfills that we're able to use as a result.
At any given time, you might have on the roads 180 trucks?
About between 150 and 180, yeah.
Okay, let's say 150 trucks that are out there, and they fill that truck up once a day or twice? I mean, one time or two times during the route?
Twice. They typically twice, because they do about 1,100 homes. So they'll about halfway through
per truck.
About halfway through, they have to go. They find that most of them have to go dump, and then they go back out, and then of course at the end of when they're done at the end of the day, they dump a second time.
So at the end of the week, there are 760,000, right? 680,000
pickups,
right?
Yeah,
and that is a lot of stuff. That is a lot of stuff. It seems to me that's like a great short movie. Say, here's what happens, and have the drawings. Okay, here's one truck, here's 2 and 10, and that takes up a lot of space. So hopefully there'll be some resolution that'll keep a lot of us a little bit happier. And again, tell us about on the electric truck. It's a more expensive truck, but
yes, but in the long run, it actually pays for itself. From what I was told by my fleet manager, in fuel costs, especially when fuel goes up, the higher the cost of fuel is, the faster the electric truck pays itself. But additionally, in maintenance, because with electric trucks, you don't have to do the same kind of. You do maintenance. most vehicles, what do they tell you? Every 3 months,
Yeah.
get the oil change and the basic maintenance and stuff like that. On an electric truck, you're talking about once a year you have to do maintenance on it.
Well, it's incredible. I was delighted to meet the driver of one of the vehicles.
Yes.
He was a proud papa that day. I said, "Which one of you guys are guys?"
Me.
Okay, you
I'm
can
the
beat
one.
your chest. It's good. So let's talk about. We were fortunate so far to avoid any hurricanes here. All right.
Oh, yeah.
I think we passed the peak, but we see this big storm that was out there. Could have
Yeah,
just as well
it's
come this way.
scaring us. It's supposed to not go our way. Hopefully it doesn't, but you know.
So people
And there's other stuff behind it, by
Yes,
the way.
of course. So
Developing.
people still have time to go ahead and take a look around their yard, see what trees need to be trimmed. They can take that, and if their landscaper's not going to take the trees, what can they do?
They can call for a bulky pickup, or set up bulky pickup appointment either online or calling, or they can take it to the TRCs. Now, a little bit of a caveat, since we're in the middle of hurricane season and it's the most active, and this month has been pretty active. August and September are typically the most active months anyway. Just be careful, be mindful of that. Know that when, you know, if, heaven forbid, but if we get into a point where we're under hurricane watch or hurricane or tropical storm watch or warning, that at some point we're going to try to pick up whatever bulky waste pickups are still, you know, pending. But at some point we're going to, you know, tell people no new bulky pickups. So if you have stuff to do it, every time I think I come here and say, do it now, do it now, do it now. On the one hand, I want to caution and be careful because I don't know how far out now the appointments are. And we do have Hurricane Lee out there. Not supposed to come our way, but there are a couple of other developing systems that are behind it. So just be mindful of that. Worst case scenario, the TRCs are open. You can always take your stuff there.
And if they want to have it picked up, they can dial 311 or go to
Or
miami-dade.gov.
miami-dade.gov/solid waste.
Frank, as I told you before, it was so easy for me to do that. Go there and they show a house. Where is it going to be? What is it? And it's really good. And people should make the appointment before they put the trash out. So
Yes.
So your inspectors are not going to give you a
And
warning
now
or
you'll
a
see how
citation.
far in advance, and you can kind of judge, am I going to be able to make it? You know, at least, you know, if you look at it now, at least take a look now if you know you got to get rid of stuff.
Let's talk about illegal dumping, because I know that we're clean out in horse country. Thank you, Miami-Dade County, for picking up that old boat that was out there for a bit. But people dump stuff out on the street all the time.
Unfortunately, yes.
And there are eyes watching them frequently.
Oh yes. We have hidden cameras. We have not just hidden cameras where they'll film and they'll go back and grab the video. We have cameras. We have like basically live feed cameras in several locations. We have officers that sit there and watch these cameras, and if they see anything, they'll call either, you know, dispatch, the enforcement officer for that zone, or even the police. And you might think dump down and maybe somehow they won't get me, whatever, because it's if you know there's a hidden camera, the video they won't see for another week or so. They might catch you on the spot now because they've got live stream cameras.
That's wonderful. And, one time I did chase some guy years ago. I won't do that again. All right. But if you see somebody dumping, they can call. All right. And just be careful. And the cops, at some point, if we're lucky, they will get them and they'll give them a warning.
If they're dumping, we always advise don't go chasing after them. If you see them dumping at the moment, you can call 911. If you just see the pile of stuff, you don't know who did it, you can call 311.
So, and right now, if there's somebody's dumped on the side of the road, more or less, how long does it take for it to be picked up? More or less.
That's a good question. I mean, part of it is the enforcement officer and how busy their zone is, how much of a workload they have, because they might notice it, and in other cases, people reporting it. Once we're aware of it, it's a matter of a few days. The enforcement officer is going to investigate, try to see if we can find if there's a camera in the area. They'll try to see if they can find out who did it that way. Otherwise, sometimes there's evidence inside the pile itself, and then once they've been able to investigate, then at that point, then we call for it to be cleaned up.
Let's talk about dead animals on the swale. What should somebody do if they don't want to go out?
That I would call 311. Animal Services would get the animal on the swale. If it's on private property, you're on your own.
So the swale is from the street to
from the sidewalk between the sidewalk and the street, basically.
I would never expect anybody to kick it out of this film. I'm sure it happens, all the time. So, so if somebody wants to find out a little bit more about solid waste or see some videos or some pictures, where should they go?
miamidade.gov/solid waste. And they can go to our social media channels. We're on Facebook and we're on Twitter, and we just started up an Instagram account as well. So
I follow you, and it's nice to see where you're connecting a little bit more. And I think by virtue of going out to these mobile sites, that continues that connection. Keep that top of mind. And some people that do spaying for cats, they have a mobile van, and they advertise them. People bring their cats there, and it's much more convenient, and it's not as intimidating. And I'll do a shout out. Go adopt some pets. You can go to miamidade.gov and go to animal services and be able to find a nice cat or nice pet or dog. No snakes there, right? But mostly dogs and cats. So please help out and adopt a dog or a cat. Frank, I think that's about it. Thank you so much for being here, Frank.
Appreciate you having me, Michael.
And Andres, thank you very much. And folks, thank you for joining us, and have a great